Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are about to commence the fourth game of the Mattel 2018 World Scrabble Championship here in Westfield, Shepherd's Bush. Nigel Richards leads over Jesse Day 2-1. After that really tense, tight battle. Just giving the thumbs up that they can commence. Nigel now with the first move advantage, which has varied in reckonings over the years as to how much of an advantage it is to go first, but it's probably about a 5 to 6% win rate advantage. So if you're going first, you should win about 53%, 54% of your games. Particularly if, as Nigel is doing, you pick like that. Although Jesse's not picking too badly as well. I say possibly giving him the kiss of death. And Nigel lining up La Volts there, which has to be the best play. I haven't actually seen another bonus in that rack yet. Yep, it is the only bonus in that rack. La Volt being a verb. I must admit, I don't know what it means, so I'm going to check. Oh, La Volt is an old dance for two persons, like Scrabble. So Nigel will do his traditional think about it. Probably the only thing he's just double checking is that he doesn't have an alternative 7 which doesn't leave the S on the middle tile. And of course he will play it downwards because Nigel likes to watch the world burn. 76 points. Not the kind of thing you want to see coming down from your opponent when you've just picked out some reasonable tiles followed by a lot of clunk. Jesse would have been hoping for a floating D for Bluidia. Or also a Z for Bruilsy. Nigel does need an R for impaired with that rack, and obviously Jesse does have an R, so Chris Slipe is back with me now.
Yeah, it looks like Nigel's off to a rousing start.
Healthy start, yeah. Trying to look at what Jesse's options are. Relatively limited.
Yeah, it looks like his highest.
His highest score is not much of a score at all.
Yeah.
It's Bybeer off the V. UL, which is now lining up in his rack. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, they definitely can't hear us. We can barely hear each other. I must say it's amazing the level of composure that these two are keeping when they're surrounded by tens of thousands of spectators they are at the moment.
People banging on the cage, expecting them to perform like a trained animal. Dance, Nigel, dance.
Yeah, if there's one thing guaranteed to put a Scrabble player off his pace is people banging. So I think Jesse's going to whack down Vibier.
Vibier is as good as anything. Like, difficult to get a great leave with the rack. Just score what you can, play as many tiles as you can, and move on.
Yep.
In general, if you're going to have a bad leave, you want it to be a short bad leave, so you have some chance to draw into something.
Yeah. And keeping you well, he's got the opportunity to play some really impressive bingos through the floating L's and stamp his authority on this match. Leipimia, what's the correct play? Oh, ain't that. I mean, Leipimia would be an interesting play here. In that it would. Scores are 76 to Nigel and 22 to Jesse.
Yeah, Nigel has the opportunity to give me a shout out. I'm happy to see that.
And I think, I mean, Leipimia is a Nigel-y kind of play in that it's going to, well, it's going to do that. It's going to frustrate all of the floaters of Vibier because you won't be able to play through them, you have to play down from them. It leaves the M in an awkward position so that Jesse can't score bigly across unless he's got an M to play at or an H for Jesse will be tempted, may be tempted to play a 3-letter play across the top, but of course in playing that 3-letter play he's getting rid of the S hook on Leipimia, which is an opening that Nigel will be thinking I want to get rid of. And of course if he leaves it, Nigel has it next move. And it turns over 6 tiles to give him a shot at the S's and blanks, or S's and 1 blank left.
Nigel's on 110 now.
Yeah, Nigel on 110.
Jesse on 22.
Jesse though with Trunnels. Pretty much face value, but he's going to play it. There aren't really any other options. I think he'll just think about it for a short while, but Trunnels is the play. Nigel already has wood set up on his rack.
Nigel will, after Trunnels goes down, Nigel will immediately enter his dormant phase for 45 seconds before playing the bonus.
Yep. Yeah, wood note. Oh yes, of course, wood note. Sorry, I didn't even notice that. I was wondering why Nigel was going to insert his wood, but he's got wood note there that can go beautifully under Vibier. But it looks like Jesse's not sure of Trunnels. Is Trunnels OSW only? CSW rather?
I think it's MTWL, but it's one of those that's high prob, so you learn it relatively early and it doesn't come up much. So it's...
Because he's now looking at Lun rather, just Lun across the top of Leipimia, which does, I mean, he would play Trunnels immediately if he was certain of it, wouldn't he? This could be so move 2. It could be a killer straight away if he doesn't play Trunnels. I think Trunnels would create a nice dynamic opening onto the triple, which would give him a shot at coming back from wood note. Lun is going to score virtually nothing. Oh dear, that was a big miss. That is a big miss. So just 11 points for Jesse there when he should have been scoring 59. That takes him to 33. And Nigel will bind down wood note in no time at all. Jesse's got a strong keep, so he may get his way out of it with a big play down making Leipimias, but we wouldn't have expected him to miss Trunnels at this point. I don't know whether he was... Well, actually, he had Runnels on his rack, so maybe he was just blind because of the T being the blank. I don't know. Has he got a vowel? There we go, he's got Stone Urn and Leipimias, so he will have a shot at getting back into it. may have been aware, ladies and gentlemen, we had a total of 6 international Scrabble languages being played down in Torquay this weekend, this week. And I can see we've just been joined by the Norwegians who've come up to watch the 2018 Mattel World Scrabble Championship final with us. I think they're all certainly more capable at English than I am with Norwegian, so I think they enjoy watching the games in both languages.
But yeah, you walk by some of their boards not realizing that they're playing in Norwegian, and then just wonder to yourself, why don't I recognize any of these words?
Nigel opting to play wood tone instead of wood note. Any reason, do we think? Actually, I think I can see why, because if he played wood note, there would be a play of lays and itta. Playing wood tone doesn't leave that. So, in every sense, the right move. Taking Nigel to a 190 point to 33 point lead. As we know, he should still be in a 100 point lead, but not quite that much. So Jesse will absolutely see Stoner now. So yeah, 190 to Nigel, 33 to Jesse. And if Nigel continues to draw, oh geez, well, Nigel has continued to draw scoring racks, so I think Stoner has to be played. He's playing on tenos. Why? It's,
it does block Nigel's J, but at what cost?
Yeah, it blocks the J, but actually you're the way that you're forming that board over on that side is not favourable to you. He's killed the S. He's killed all the float. Well, he's killed the WOO floating of wood tone. That's Stoner was the play there. Stoner I know is CSW only. To me, I don't know. Maybe again a bit of dictionary blindness. I mean, he has picked out nepotism and pesant.
Don't panic, Jesse. Take a deep breath.
But yeah, so 41 for Nigel brings Nigel to 231. Jesse on 101. Most importantly, though, that Ag play now takes out the S opening that Jesse should have taken with his last move. So Jesse does have Nepetas, does play down the side of Nortenos. Sorry, Norteños. I'd like to, hopefully I've been brushing up on my Spanish pronunciation. I'd like to thank Terry Kangrao for telling me that Albondigas is pronounced Albondigas. Oh, Nigel has the identical rack to what Jesse started a couple of games ago with. There really is very limited variety in Scrabble, isn't there? I mean, you don't need to learn about a dozen words. Or penates, nepetas, yeah.
Yeah. Pesante plays too. They all fit in the exact same spot.
Yeah. So, a penates for 81. Taking Jesse to 182. So there is still a bit of life in this game. Nigel though with a 49 point lead. The board is still reasonably open, so there are opportunities and shots at having comebacks.
Jesse'd love to see a blank.
Or just draw something that's balanced. Needs an O. Needs an O. Doesn't have an O. No chiefdom available on this move. Unless Nigel plays one. Which I can't see happening.
It's a workable combination, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're possibly looking, given how Nigel's got his rack set up, at Faro down the side of penates.
going to give back FEHM for a bunch.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if it works out that way, Nigel scores 28, Jesse comes back for about 50 or 55, and suddenly he's only down 20 or 30 points. He's down, you know, a small bingo.
He's not, he's just playing 4.
Yeah. The risk of that opening was too great.
Yeah.
So reasonable play brings Nigel to 2-5-1. Jesse still has some scoring opportunities for certain.
Just a minor shout out, not even a minor shout out here, so you know that while we were playing the top division qualifying tournament, the 35 games over this week to select the final 8 for the quarters, semis and finals, there was also a Division 2 tournament running alongside, which have followed a similar format, quarters, semis and finals. The winner of that is one of the players who I also had the pleasure of commentating and awarding a prize in the 2018 Mattel Junior World Scrabble Championship. A young man by the name of Hamad Hadi Khan from Pakistan. They have a superb following of Scrabble and a lot of very strong players. So Jesse's played Chef, which I think is probably the highest score available, keeping mid. He's made 35, taking 217. He's only 34 behind now. Nigel, Nigel does have a bonus. I'm not sure if he's seen it. Maybe he's just considering playing over, keeping Ryan. And he's going to have a quick look through to see if he can see anything better than that, but it's going to go down pretty quickly, I think. There is nothing else worth looking at. The nice thing about Ovarian is that it's also frustrating. All the floaters it's leaving are frustrating one another with floaters of pen 8s. It's not what you want to see when you're Jesse at this point.
Yeah, mounting a comeback like that kind of requires your opponent have some frustrations on his own.
Yeah.
Jesse's back to being down 100.
He's got a sweet overlap play of Hedgie down the side of Ovarian on the right hand side, but
Nigel's on 318 now, and Jesse's 217.
35 for Hedgie, but you're just killing the board.
Yeah, what do you do that doesn't destroy the board?
What about hyped? HYPED through the D. Through PE rather.
Yep.
42.
Yeah.
Keep MIGE.
Sets up the H for a lane.
Yeah.
Doesn't really disturb much else.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess E column is a lane that gets blocked off, but it's a difficult lane.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like that top scores, so that's probably the play here.
It's the top score and the only thing that's going to open up that left-hand side for anything worthwhile.
Once hyped goes down, then maybe Nigel plays along pen 8s in the B column.
Yeah.
And then that takes it out, but at least it makes him spend a turn taking that out.
Absolutely.
All that stuff, and plus then you get A column back depending on what he uses to overlap.
Yeah. Nigel one letter away from Berry Berries.
Still have about a couple dozen people looking around, peeking in, watching the curious creatures who are encaged in transparent aluminum.
Just to translate for those listening in the UK, that's transparent aluminium. Jesse playing Jim. HIED is theoretically a stronger keep than MIGE, but you sacrificed a lot of points. You're killing floaters. Yeah, it's missed the opportunity really to develop that left-hand side of the board, which is dead at the moment. It needs to be opening.
Yes.
And also, Nigel is doing what he does very well. Although in this case, I'm not sure whether it's deliberate, but the board is forming so that the only bingos that will go down are going to be face value. So if you look at the floaters, the E of Vibia, it's all face value coming down from the E. The R of Vibia, it's all face value. The A of Ovarian is pretty much all face value. So we find ourselves to scores of 3-1-8 to Nigel and 2-5-2 to Jesse. So Jesse's only 66 points drift. But
yeah, it looks manageable, but you're also down the turn.
yeah. So yeah, Nigel just ploughing through the tiles now, playing Scriber for 36, putting up to a 3-5-4 to 2-5-2, so it puts him 100 points clear.
Yeah, and a lot of players, when they get a lead, they try and block and block, and it's like trying to hold the ocean in your hands, and it all falls through. But if you keep the scoring pressure on, if you can score 36, can score 30 every single turn, it makes it really difficult for anyone to mount any sort of comeback.
Absolutely.
Just because instead of picking up, 60 points net on your bonus, you're picking up 30 or 35. So that's something that, beginning and intermediate level players fall victim to quite often.
Yeah. How many times have you gotten into a defense mode only to be overhauled by an unexpected bingo, and then your opponent picks the X, and then all of a sudden you're behind on a board that you yourself has closed off. Nigel's very good at creating multiple openings to come back. I mean, let's not forget that the Z is still out, of course, and that massive Bez opening is still there.
Yeah.
So Jesse does have some Hail Mary options here, which could somehow get him back into it, but
the A in Ovarian is situated in a place that's
true.
Or ZO or ZO. Either one will score a lot of points.
It's one of those situations where Jesse's probably quite happy that those openings are there. If his opponent's got it, then he's going to lose anyway, but he needs them to be there, because a bingo isn't going to be enough. A bingo plus Nigel then having a 30-point move means he's still going to be 50 behind.
Yeah, I think the path home for Jesse involves pulling a bonus, pulling the blank,
Yeah.
another bonus, and then maybe the Z on top of it.
Yeah.
Which, stranger things have happened.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's looking at Hoped here. Could this be prophetic? £33 points for Hoped, leaving the H floating, which obviously combines well with the C, leaving the R of Ovarian, which also combines well with the keep, and the M isn't too bad. So yeah, Hoped goes down.
Jesse has a new Hoped.
That's finally developing that left-hand side of the board, which maybe should have been developed on the last move. Nigel already has Kudu set up on his rack, which is likely to go down the side of Penates. It's an interesting one because given what we were talking about, that Jesse needs not only a bingo, but he also then has to play a big Z play. Nigel hasn't got something like Ked set up, because Nigel does play defensively. We've seen the defensive plays. So Ked down the side of Ovarian takes out the floaters, kills the Z position. Kudu, the benefit of Kudu would be that it would block the plays down that left-hand column, but that left-hand column wasn't open, so maybe he'd already realised what Jesse was going to play.
Kudu and Ask also takes out the possibility of crossing the Z there.
True. So the scores now, Jesse's gone up to 285. So there's 69 points in it. Jesse does have 2 bingos through an R, but sadly not through these R's. Agasori and Asirich. Kudu would be an interesting one in that Nigel does have the O. And from Nigel's position, there aren't many front hooks to the DE that he's going to be setting up, so if he's playing on the left-hand side, sort your rack out. You've got one of the few tiles that goes in the front of the DE.
Yeah, and what goes in front of the UT that scores? Nothing.
Not a lot
that's
actually.
out.
Yeah.
There's a C out.
Yeah.
That's the worst case.
Yeah, we have in the display behind us, I think I might have mentioned, there's an opportunity to vote for the new words that you want to see coming into the dictionary, and I think "wort" hasn't quite made it yet, but WUT would be beautiful. So Drook now.
Where might that go?
Underneath bed.
Yeah.
Killing that Z position. I mean, that would be a good thing. That's the more dangerous Z position, because if you force him to play the Z down the side of Ovarian, he's blocking his own bingo opportunities. Whereas if he's able to offload the Z underneath BE, he's not damaging the bingo opportunities. So this is, I mean, if he plays Drook, that would be a prime example of Nigel utilising his opponent's move against them.
Yeah, and also there's no mice in the pool. All the S's are on the board. There's only the blank unseen, so Drook and that would be opening up a hook, but it would have to use the blank to take advantage. Nigel is unyoked through NY set up now. Which, I guess positionally, the next thing to come down would be something into the D, and then that would exhaust that quadrant of the board, or at least make it so, you know, there's a cat and mouse game going on with trying to open up a lane to find the real estate to put 7 tiles consecutively.
It's interesting that Nigel puts the words on his rack in order to consider them.
Yeah.
Because you would think he would be able to play around with them in his head, but I think because his learning style, he's a reader. He reads dictionaries. Maybe he needs to have them set up there so he can visualise what he's doing. This is all pure conjecture from my point of view, but.
Yeah, that's interesting. Most players don't do that so consistently.
Yeah. Okay, Nigel going back to the move I mentioned at the beginning, so playing Kudu. Takes him up to a score of 388 to Jesse's 285, so a 103 point lead, and Jesse with a clunky rack. And Nigel is picking out good tiles. Good scoring. He's got techs at the top for 50 plus. I think we're pretty much there now in this World Championship, actually, unless something absolutely incredible happens on Jesse's side. Yeah, Jesse, what can you do?
They are readying the balloons for the balloon drop. And the confetti. Unfortunately, they have a roof on their cage, so the balloons won't fall in, though some of the confetti might fall in the air holes. We just hope that the confetti doesn't fall on the electric board and cause a short circuit.
That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I'd hate for us to have to default to the player in 4th place at this year's World Championships if unfortunately these two and the 3rd place can't be contacted. But it's a burden I will take. I'd really like to see if Nigel win this, you know, just gets up quietly, lifts up his beard and releases maybe a dove of hope out into the world. I think that would be a beautiful gesture.
Yeah, the last couple times when he's released one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, it was really disappointing.
Yes, but it seemed best on the day.
Crowd of people gathering, pointing, running sims on their phones.
That simulation's not the game where you have to decide whether to go to a party wearing a bandana or stilettos. So there's 12 tiles in the bag. So Jesse can't get 2 bonuses. So the blank is still unseen. But so is the Z. So are the Z and the X. So Jesse plays Guy for 19. Taking him up to 304, so he's 84 points adrift. From his point of view, he'll think it's going to be a challenge to get back into this, but he won't know quite how much of a challenge until Nigel's next move goes down. There are now 9 tiles in the bag, so Nigel ideally will want to play 3 tiles. So leave only 6, so that Jesse definitely can't bingo twice.
That'll be the advantage of Tex over Ox or X.
Well, the question is though, if he plays, could he lose to a Z play and then a bingo? If he plays Tex, would a Z play be enough? So 60, 3, 4, 5, 6, 270, 4, it's nip and tuck. He's only going to play 2 tiles, which will leave 7 in the bag. But he has kept, I mean the Q is still unseen as well, so he's kept the U as insurance. Oh, and he's picked out the Z. Oh, wow. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it here. Jesse has, well, I'm going to call it, Jesse has a beautiful play off the OS of Ossitated, if he sees it. But I'm also going to call that as a 0% win, because Nigel can whack down Zoo straight away. So the score's now Nigel 442. So he's got a 138 point lead over Jesse on 304, unfortunately. So Jesse, even if he sees the bonus, is going to lose. And Nigel Richards goes on to win the World Championship. Now holding both the UK, let's play Zoot, sorry, not Zoo, holding both the English and the French World Championship titles. Spoke to him the other night, he said the next thing in the plan is Spanish. So can he hold all 3 at once?
If he has 2 in one hand, he may drop it. May need to strap one to his head or something.
Yeah, this is true.
But we are counting down to the moment. Nigel is just under 11 minutes and Jesse is closing in on 5 minutes remaining. So basically just a matter of time, knowing which tiles are on Nigel's rack and what plays are about to
The blank is still unseen. I mean, Nigel doesn't really make any difference. 7 in the bag. So the very best sequence now is going to be that Jesse is going to play Occitated for 89, which will take him to 393, but then Nigel will play Zoot for 67, which will take him to 509.
Then Jesse will have QWY blank.
Oh, he'll have Kujibo.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's spelled with a K, isn't it?
Right.
Dear. And the thing is here, Jesse can't even accidentally block Nigel's Q play, sorry, Z play, because he has 2.
I think if it all goes down, Zoot will block QWERTY.
The ultimate killer. I see people wandering past now with Scrabble balloons.
Yeah, Jesse, it's a difficult find Occitated from OS, and so he fishes off 1.
His fishes off a tile leaves 7, no, 6 in the bag
6
now.
in the bag.
Yeah. So Nigel is going to play Zoot, leaving 2 in the bag. Jesse will draw the Q now, which will show. Oh no, he hasn't. Okay. I was going to say that will show that this is very much sealed, but no. Nigel's going to play. Well, is he going to play Zoot?
Does set up the Y that's in the bag.
I think he might just play Zoe because it'll kill the floaters.
Of course, if you play Zoot, you're pretty sure Jesse doesn't have the Y after fishing the T.
Yeah, true. I suppose from a spread point of view, what you don't want to do is to set up a massive Y play that your opponent can then bingo out. Because by playing Zoot, you're not killing the floaters of Ovarian as well. So you're not only creating an opportunity for your opponent to score 40 or 50 and then bonus. You don't need to. So I think maybe just ZO.
In the upper level of the atrium here, there are people walking by, looking, people sitting, chatting, eating their lunch or their afternoon tea, not realizing that they're looking on a piece of Scrabble history.
Well, what's great is that people are walking past, but they're stopping. I don't mean stopping and just fully turning and staring, but they're actually stopping because they're genuinely intrigued by what's going on, and they can't keep their eyes away. And I mean, it's amazing that Nigel's able to play completely naked at this point. I mean, it'd be better if they could look at the board, but hey ho, at least it's got them looking. So he just played Zoe. Nigel, of course, now has Grouchy. Aye, aye, aye. So this could really seal this one. So Jesse won't block the floaters of Ovarian because he'll be thinking, I want to bonus out. I think he's pretty much certain now the game is gone. So he's going to fish off the W. And then Nigel's going to play Groutier after a minute and a half of thinking. Yeah, Jesse plays Jaw, and that is it. That leaves 3 in the bag. Nigel will play Groutier. Come on, Nigel. You surely can't think about this for too long.
Nigel doodling a picture this time of himself lifting the trophy.
I wonder if he'll play Groutier and be frustrated with himself that Jesse goes out with Lasserted. Scores now 5-0-7 to Nigel and 3-2-9 to Jesse. Yeah, Groutier is going down. And that is, yeah, game over. 68 points, taking Nigel to 575. Jesse's going to play out with Lasserted.
Oh, he's got Maledict.
Oh, he's got Maledict, even better. Yeah, nice play.
Nigel eats the cue.
Nigel eats the cue. Ah, sweet victory, but not. 95 from Maledict, taking Jesse to, well, plus the eaten cue, takes him to 4-5-2. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure to commentate on this very exciting final, particularly exciting third game. But I give you your Mattel 2018 World Scrabble Champion, the greatest of all time, as they call him, and certainly true today. New Zealand's Nigel Richards, for the 4th time, the English Scrabble World Champion. Thank you so much for joining us. As I say, it's been a delight to follow this. I'm sort of quite happy that Nigel won, because now I can say I've been knocked out by the winner rather than also ran. So
likewise, except the opposite.
What are your thoughts on the matchup today, Chris?
Yeah, Jesse fought hard. It looks like he had some nerves in the final game, but you know, it's always very little margin for error when you play Nigel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need some luck with the tiles.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jesse fought valiantly.
Yeah, I think that third game was great, and it showed the subtleties and the bouncing backwards and forwards of the setups and counter setups. Really exciting play, and it was great that we could see it happen in this this environment with a lot of people looking on. I think even more are being attracted now that they heard the round of applause, wondering who this man is who's shaking another man's hand in this cube.
So we'll
head over now.
We'll be back shortly with the swimsuit competition.
So thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll, I think we'll keep the video going for a little while, so you'll see what's going on. But we're off now to talk to people about what's going on and see if we can get Nigel to say a few words as well. Thanks for listening.
Whenever you're ready. Yeah, no. Wait, what are you looking for? Handshake. Oh, sorry. Congrats. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. Always. Can you just lean back in there for a second? Arms, then? Would you step down? Sorry. I'm afraid not. Majesty's Press Association. I gotta look serious. If you wouldn't mind. Should I look sad? No. Should cry. It would be face. You with the handshake. Yeah. Another way you're just looking at the board.